Hey, hello, Miss Steele here. So this week we're talking about colors, and for this project we're going to focus on warm colors. And we're going to make our own huge corn with a bunch of warm colors. So you want a piece of paper, a pencil, and an eraser. You want a black marker or crayon. I have a Sharpie. I'm going to turn the light on to see if that makes it a little brighter. Maybe a little bit. And then as well, you're going to want something to color in with. I am using colored pencils today. So I have colored pencils, but you can use crayons or markers. And then this is optional, but if you want to add some butter onto your corn, you're going to want scissors and glue. So I'm going to set all these aside, and I'm going to start out with drawing my corn. I have a very wide piece of paper, so I'm going to make it kind of a long skinny piece of paper before I start drawing my corn. So I am going to cut it in half. So I'm making my corners touch, holding it down with one hand, and then using my other hand I'm going to fold. You want to make it long and skinny. So I'm going to cut right on this fold line, and then I'll be right back so we can have a skinnier, longer piece of paper so the corn will fit better. Alright, so I have my long skinny paper. What I'm going to do is about a third of the way down, I'm going to draw a big open U. And then at the bottom, I'm going to draw a little bit of a skinnier U. And then I'm going to connect them together. Like that. And then we want to make the top of our corn. And for that, I kind of add some wavy, skinny triangles. And I like to add 3 or 4, one more, and maybe we'll add one more like that. So now we want to make our corn kernels, and for that we're going to draw some straight lines going down. So one down the middle, and then one on each side, like that. And then we're going to do the same going the other way, and I'm going to make them kind of round. And I'm going down and I'm adding some straight lines, and this is what's going to turn into our ear of corn, because that's what they call them. Sorry if you can hear my cat meowing in the background. So we have our corn drawn now. I want these lines to really stand out, so it's even easier to color into it down here, so that's why we have our black marker. So just like we did with another project earlier, we are going to outline our pencil lines. And this is going to make it easier for us to color in, and it's going to make those lines really stand out. And if I don't get it exactly on the line, that's okay, because what I'm going to do after is I'm going to go back and I'm going to erase any of those pencil lines that are hanging out, because the eraser will erase the pencil, the graphite, which is what's inside pencils, but it won't erase my marker. So if I finish outlining and then go back and erase, it's going to be even easier. And I'm going to do the same for my triangles that I drew up here. Just outlining them. And then if you have some extra space like I do down here, I'm going to add some butter on here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw some squares that kind of have rounded edges. So I have 1, 2, and I'm going to color these in yellow and then glue them on there to be my butter. And I'm going to add just a few more little lines inside just to give it a little bit of texture. They almost look like ice cubes. So now I'm going to go back and I'm going to erase all my pencil lines that are hanging out, and I'm going to pull out some warm colored pencils, and I'm going to color this part green because it's green, so I'm going to pull out some greens as well. I'm going to color this green part first, and then I'm going to move on to all my warm colors. I have 3 different greens, and I think I'm going to do the darkest color at the bottom, and then the lightest green at the top, and then the medium colored green in the middle. So I'm going to color this one so you can see what I'm talking about. So I have my darkest green, and then I'm going to layer on my lighter green, going almost all the way to the top. And then I'm going to come in with my lightest green, and I'm going to color in the top. And that's what I'm going to do for all of these, just so they can almost like have a little more like realistic color to them. So I'm going to use my darkest, medium, and lightest. I'm going to get these colored in, and then we'll move on to this part. So I got my green part colored in. So now what I want to do is I want to grab my warm colors. So whenever you can think of warm colors, you can think of a hot summer day, yellows and oranges and reds and pinks. So then what I'm going to do is, instead of coloring this all one color, I'm going to go in and I'm going to color in some random squares using all of my different colors. So I want my squares to be kind of all different colors. So I'm going to go color by color, and you can do this with as many warm colors as you can find. And I'm just going to fill in a few random ones all over the place. And then I'm going to switch to a different color. So I might fill in 5 or 6 and then switch to a new color. So I'm going to keep doing that with this orange, and then we'll move on to the next color. So I finished throwing in some of that orange, so now I'm going to go through and put in some of this maroon. And I'm going to keep doing this with all my different colors, filling in different spots so that every area kind of has some different warm colors in it. So I'm going to go through and keep doing that with all of my warm colors, and I'm going to make for sure to color in these yellow, because this is going to be all butter that we can add on top of our corn. It's okay if you get out of the lines a little bit coloring this in, because we're going to cut it out and glue it onto here. So whenever we cut it out, you can cut out that area where you colored outside of the lines. So I'm going to get this all colored in, and we'll move on to our next step. Right, so I have it all colored in using all different sorts of warm colors, and what I'm going to do now is I'm going to cut everything out, and then I'm going to glue my little slices of butter onto my corn. But first, I need to get everything cut out, and because we added that black outline, it's going to make it a lot easier to follow along the line to cut it out. And whenever I'm cutting, sometimes I find it easier to move the paper instead of moving my scissors. So I'll move the paper whenever I'm cutting if I need to turn it, and then I'll kind of keep my scissors in the same place and only move the paper. And I feel like it gives me more control and makes it a little easier to cut. So I'm going to get this all cut out, and then we will glue on our butter. Alright, so now I'm using a dot is a lot. I think I'm going to put them right here, here, and here. Kind of towards the top. And then I'm going to squish it down. Oop, got some on the side. There we go. Cleaning up any edges if I need to. And just like that, our warm corn is done. I cannot wait to see how yours come out. I will see you all next time. Have a wonderful rest of your morning, your evening, your afternoon, whenever you're watching this. Bye.